Hey guys, it's a girl CC and I'm back again today with another interesting video. So it is actually a continuation of my last video. If you haven't seen it yet, baby, you missed, okay? But then I'm gonna share the link in the comments. It's gonna take you straight to the part one. So you know where we started this video from, but this is the part two. So this woman right here asks women that are in a healthy relationship to share their stories, talk about it, what is working for them, how are they doing it, what are they doing. And of course, a lot of women staged her video, which I have put those stitches together. Follow the link in the comment section. It's gonna take you straight to the part one. So you know where we started this video from, but this is the part two. Let's check the stitches out, please.
If you're in a healthy relationship with a man, can you stitch this video and talk about?
So there are good men out there and there are healthy relationships.
But they start with a emphasis on trust and honesty. Without those two things, you're going nowhere.
A good foundation, a good friendship, giving each other grace as well.
Having patience and understanding. This is what's been helping us for all these years.
Yeah, we met online and we were divorced with children, having come from not so great situations, but we decided that when we went into this relationship, we were going to be completely honest, we were going to be ourselves, we'd become best friends.
And no judging. So no matter what's happened in the past, moving forward and learning from that.
And taking responsibility for your part.
That's it.
If you're in a healthy relationship with a man, can you stitch this video and talk about it?
Hey, this sis. How are you? I am happy to talk about this topic. I married later in life. I got married at the age of 45. One of the things that pre-marriage, which was essential hands down for myself and my husband, was that we had pre-engagement therapy. Before, honey, there was any dress, before there was any yes or no or anything in between. We both did individual and then couples counseling. The reality is we were people of a particular age that were coming into marriage. We had lived life. And I had things I needed to work on. He had things he needed to work on. Hands down, a game changer for setting us up for success as we walked into marriage. The one thing after marriage, and I could list many, but the one thing after marriage that I will say that then continued what we had set up for success to keep moving forward, we both came from very religious, traditional backgrounds, which included the topic and idea of submission. And while that may work wonders for others, we found that shifting from submission, which means that one or both of us are in a subservient position, and shifting to co-reigning is what worked for us. What does co-reigning look like? It looks like that he is still very much a masculine man, still very much an emperor. He is still very much in a space of royalty. But when there are times when he may have to lean in to what would likely be deemed as more of his feminine side or his feminine energy, because we're beings that have dual, we have both masculine and feminine in all of us, then there was a safe space for his heart to land, a safe space for his vulnerabilities to land, a safe space that was guarded and protected by me, that he could be vulnerable, he could talk through, walk through whatever it is that he needed to at that time. And then when he rose up and walked out that door, he was still the emperor. I still looked at him as very much the man that I had married. Likewise, I am able to then really operate in my femininity. And when there are times where as a woman, I need to really lean into the masculine energy, because again, duality, I have feminine energy and masculine energy residing in me. I need to lean into what would be deemed as a masculine perspective, then I can do that. But he still looks at me as the wife that he married, the woman that he married. He still looks at me as an empress. One thing after marriage that has been so fulfilling and that has richly undergirded the foundation of the incredible connection that we have is that we look at each other from a perspective of, I honor and respect and adore you as my husband. And I honor and respect the fact that you are still very masculine, but there are moments of vulnerability that you need to be able to be safe in, and I can safeguard that. And likewise, I can lean very much into everything that is feminine, all of the feminine archetypes. But when I need to lean in and I need to be a bit of a warrior, I can do that, and he will still look at me as an empress and as his wife. That's what I would say. I hope that helps. Bye.
If you're in a healthy relationship with a man, can you stitch this video and talk about it?
Okay, so the first time in my adult life, I'm finally in a healthy relationship. Long story short, my boyfriend found me on this Instagram page. We're both Greek, and they shouted me out. He saw me. The rest was history. So it started in the DMs. I liked what he was saying. I gave him my number, and we began to text and FaceTime. I was busy the summer that he met me, and we first started talking, I think, early June of 2022. So I told him, if you can give me till August, you can come to New Jersey to visit me. And visit me he did. From the moment he walked off the plane, it was like we had already known each other. Like we'd spent a lifetime together, and we were just seeing each other again. You know, I was picking him up from the airport. Immediately, we like roll into laughing and joking and having a good time. And it just felt right, felt perfect. So his first visit to Jersey was great. I had already had a trip planned to Houston in September with some of my line sisters, and I told him, and he was like, there's no way you're going to be in Texas and I'm not going to see you. So he drove 3 hours from Dallas, got a hotel, told me, let me know when you have some free time, I'll come pick you up. And I hung out with my girls, and then when I was ready to see him, I let him know. He picked me up, and we had a good time, and we did that for 2 days. He was in the fire academy at the time, so he had driven up for the weekend. In Houston, we realized like we should probably keep this thing going, so we agreed to see each other once a month back and forth. So I would go to Dallas, he would come to Jersey, and we just made it work. We made it happen. Essentially, everything just flowed so well. November of 2022, he asked me to be his girlfriend, and if my face looks familiar, it's from a viral video on TikTok where the waiter brought on a plate that said, will you be my girlfriend? There's a video of us in a plane, this whole cute little shindig or whatever. I'm Big Jordy, not the little one. I don't want to bore you with the details, but say all this to say, January of 2023, he asked me if I would want to move to Dallas, and it sounded crazy because I'm like, we just been dating for a little bit, but I loved him, and like it's like my spirit knew I loved him, and every interaction we had ever had, every comment from our friends and family was like, that's your person. So I could only deny it but for so long. So he asked me in January. I said yes. By February, around my birthday, I was absolutely resolute, and I started preparing myself to move to Dallas. Now, obviously, a move like this is a very, very big deal. I'm moving away from everybody that I know and love, well, except him. So it took a lot of like adjusting and preparation, but how I knew like this is my man for real, like I was never alone in that ever. The planning, the apartment hunting, the, how I tell my friends and family, like he never made me feel like this is your thing to do and we become a unit when you move here. Like he held my hand through it all. And then when I got down here, I saw the way he cared for my heart the entire time, but like there's nothing like laying next to your person every day. There's nothing like waking up to them, and we literally ask each other like, what do you need? How can I make your day better? How can I support you? Like these are the conversations that we have day in and day out. One of the things that I absolutely love most that I didn't have in a previous relationship is the way that he really cared to have a relationship with my mom. So I'm very close to my mom. I feel like I have a very small, tight-knit family. And not to say I wouldn't be with him if he and my mom like didn't necessarily love each other, but it just makes it so easy that, he doesn't shy away from having his own relationship with her. We have a family group chat amongst the three of us. We have a family group chat with his mother, and then those two text and talk on the phone on their own. And I just think that is so beautiful because I never have to worry about is there going to be a pain point between our families. And then this may be like a trivial thing, but we like to pretend that social media is not a big deal, but social media is very much a big deal. We interact on it every day. We show love on it. We show distaste for things. It strikes discourse. So we can't pretend that social media is not a thing in relationships. And from the beginning, he's wanted the world to know I'm his girl. And I don't take that as like a validation of our relationship, but an extension of the way that we express our love. And I've never been a secret. He's never hidden me. It's never been like, I don't want people to know our business. You know what I'm saying? Like when we were dating and just visiting each other a little bit. I mean, don't get me wrong. We would post a knee, a hand, or whatever. But, you know, from the moment that he really knew I was his girl, the moment I realized, like, that's my man for real. Like, why are we shying away from sharing our joy and our happiness? I mean, we're cautious about what we say and how much we share, but it's no secret that we love the fuck out of each other. And, you know, we want people to see that, to see the beautiful things. So often, there are people who look like us who don't feel that they can get these things. And I want women to know that if you're a black girl, you can have a good love too. I say all this to say, in my journey to being single and then dating him, I was very strict with what I accepted. If a man was exhibiting behaviors that I knew I didn't want, there's no room for potential. Like another TikTok creator said, like, he got to come fully potential, you know? And I'm sure he felt the same about me. But I wasn't accepting anything that I didn't want, anything that I couldn't see my adult self with. So I was in my late 20s when I met him. I was 27, turning 28 when I got single. I was 28 when I met him. I'm 29 now. And I just knew that as I prepare myself for my 30s, I want to be with the love of my life, not somebody I'm fooling around with. So, yeah, that's my man. And you can have that too. Just only accept what you really want out of a partner. And don't shy away from it when you get it. So, good luck.
If you're in a healthy relationship with a man, can you stitch this?
Me and my fiance are in a healthy relationship. I was a newly divorced single woman with 4 kids living at home with my mom. We matched on Tinder in November of 2022. He met my kids in February. He bought us all a house in May. He proposed in June, and now we're getting married in June 2024. He has always been consistent. He has always maintained if he's going to do something, he's going to do it. He has never switched up on me. It's such a very healthy communication, and coming from a toxic situation, my previous marriage, he is so patient. He understands my mental health. He helps me. He treats me and my kids like the priority that we are. He treats me like a princess. I can literally go on and on about this man. I love him so much, and it's the healthiest thing I've ever had. And when you know, you know.
If you're in a healthy relationship with a man, can you stitch this?
So my husband and I, before he was my husband, we were just friends. Anytime we hung out, it was in a group setting because that's the way it was. So birthdays, holidays, group friend trips, house parties, etc. And it wasn't until he moved out of state for a work promotion that we actually got closer. Because at that point, you know, we were calling each other, checking in, text messages, etc. A few years later, he moves back to Colorado, and we literally hung out for 2 weeks straight. And at that 2-week mark, he basically was like, listen, I've liked you. I've always liked you. We clearly get along. Can we try this out? And see, I'm a girly that separates church and state because if the relationship goes awry, it's just going to mess up the friend group, right? So I talked to the homie, and she basically was like the center point for all these friends, right? Everyone knew her. She brought everybody together. And so when I chatted with her, I basically told her what was going on. And she was like, listen, if you do this and you break his heart, I'm going to kill you. Mark my words, that's exactly what she said. And I was like, damn. Like, I know I could be a little heartbreaker, but okay. But then she also said to just pursue it, like, fully. Like, don't play games. Like, if you're going to do it, like, fully. So, at that point, I gave it a chance. I brought together church and state. And we've been together ever since. We've been together for 10 years, married for 5, friends for 20. And it was the best decision I ever made because he was a man who was patiently waiting for me to essentially mature because I was a playa. Okay? I was a playa. Anyway, he treats me well, encourages me, compliments me, supports me, listens to my crazy, can see my hard work, determination, passion. And through our relationship, I think we've made each other better people. So yes, there are healthy relationships out there. And sometimes it might be right underneath your nose, hiding in plain sight. But ultimately, I guess the challenge is being ready for it. Because had he tried to approach me when I was wilding out, when we were just children basically, it probably would not have manifested the way it did.
If you're in a healthy relationship with a man, can you stitch this video and talk about it?
If you are manifesting romantic love, whether that is a new person or a specific person, this is an amazing, amazing idea, and I love it. Like she said in her video, it's really important when you want to attract something into your life that you saturate your mind with that thing, the fact that that's even possible for you. Because when you believe it's possible for you, then you can start to believe that, okay, this is something I'm going to actually experience, and I can start attracting it, right? The other reason I love this is because I remember before I learned about self-concept work and before I learned about the reflection and how I was attracting all my romantic relationships in the past, I was stuck in a loop. Okay, I would keep attracting like horror story after horror story of dating, and it was never a good experience. And so when these things popped up, like she said, like these horror stories about dating on my feed and stuff, I would just be like, oh yeah, see, there's an example again. Love sucks. Men are this, women are this, dating is this. So much so stuck in that story and not understanding what the reflection of what was going on that I couldn't even fathom that a relationship like the one I have now actually could even exist. I'm going to go into the differences between my relationship now that is a healthy relationship and my past relationships that were not healthy. And then I'm going to go into how I manifested the difference and what the difference was. Number one thing I realized is I didn't have to ask for respect in this relationship. It's just a given. It's just something that's naturally like a rule in the relationship, right? My current boyfriend has never spoken down to me. He's never called me a name. He's never raised his voice at me. He's never sworn at me. He's like very respectful. Even if we have difficult conversations with each other that aren't fun to have or are hard subjects for us, it's always respectful and like communicated in an adult way. And that was never the case in past relationships. Two, he actually wants to spend time with me. I know that this sounds like kind of funny and ridiculous, but I remember in past relationships, my partners would like make excuses to not spend time with me. Like they would literally like want to hang. They would go ditch me for friends or ditch me for anything else. Like they just didn't want to be around me. That is so not the case in this relationship. Like my boyfriend will make sure he makes time to come see me and make sure that he makes time to come to any sort of extra events that we have or anything like that. Like he's always planning dates for me and planning to spend more time with me and wanting to spend more and more time with me, right? Three, this is the biggest one that we've both talked about, is we actually feel like we're a team. We actually feel like equals, like partners. And we both talk about in past relationships for ourselves, it felt like either the other person was always in control or we had to be in control because they wouldn't do anything like on their own, right? Like we had to be like, hey, do this. Hey, reminder, do this. Like they weren't stable, confident, secure partners. It was like always kind of imbalanced. With my boyfriend, it feels very imbalanced. Like there's no like, I don't know how to describe it, but there's no, we're equal to each other. We speak to each other equally. We do things equally, like around the house, like chores and things are equal. Responsibilities are equal. There's no like, I have to tell you to do this, or I have to act like I'm your parent and like write out a list of things for you to do, or I have to remind you about all this stuff to do or anything like that. It's like we're very much so like stable, secure, confident on our own. And so when we come together, we work together very, very well, and stuff just like gets divided up perfectly. Four, which is my favorite one, is we're actually making life goals together. I feel like in past relationships, that wasn't a thing. In past relationships, it was like, oh, maybe I'll do this. I don't know. I don't know if I want to get married. I don't know if I want to have kids. Like, I don't know. Like, we'll see what I want to do. I'm not sure, right? Like, we wouldn't make plans for our future together. In this relationship, that's like all we've done is made future plans together. We're starting a business together. We're getting certified in hypnosis together. We're planning on what it's going to be like when we live together. We're starting a podcast together. We're talking about, when we get married here, in the future here, we're going to buy this house here. You know what I mean? Like all of it's future planning and stuff like that, because we actually view each other as an ideal partner. Fifth and most important one to me is the way that communication is presented, the way that difficult conversations are had. Everything that comes up in our relationship, we look at as a place to grow. Okay, and that was not the case for past relationships. In the past, it was like, if a fight came up, it's like, oh, you're the worst, or I'm the worst, and now we're fighting, and now you're mad at me, and blah, blah, blah. And there was just, the same fights would come up over and over again, and nothing actually got resolved. It was like reaction to each other. We're just reacting. Nothing ever got solved. This relationship, it's more like, because we understand the reflection with each other, we're able to look at it and go, oh, okay, this is showing I, got triggered here. This is what belief it triggered. This is how I'm working on it. And then if he had a reaction to me, oh, this is what belief I had that got triggered. This is how we're working on it. This is how I'm changing that. And, stuff actually gets resolved. Everything that comes up isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's like a way for us to grow. When we've had that mindset, or since we've had that mindset, we've gotten closer and closer and closer, and our relationship is just like, we were talking about this last night, and we were looking at each other, and he's like, dude, I'm so in love with you. And I was like, oh my God, I know, I'm so in love with you. We're just looking at each other, and he's like, I've never felt this way about anybody before. We've gotten the closest we've ever been, is what we were saying. Not because everything's sunshine rainbow all the time, even though 99% of the time it is. It's because of that 1%. The way that we view it isn't like a fight that just keeps coming up and looping. It's because we've cleared out so much with each other because of looking at it like that. The difference between all of these past relationships versus this one is me. Hands down, it's me. I'm the only common denominator here. What I mean by that is the reason I was able to attract this amazing, loving man into my life was because I finally looked at myself, and I learned about the reflection, and I learned about how I was attracting everyone around me and my relationships, and I changed. So when I look at past relationships, I can see how I attracted those. I remember always thinking like I was the victim and these people were just mean or whatever. When I woke up, I was like, oh my gosh, I attracted these things because I hated myself at the time, right? My first suggestion is going to be look at past relationships or past experiences romantically. And even if you've never been in a relationship, look at that. What beliefs must I have about myself and about the world around me? Because we know everyone's showing up for you based on your self-concept and your assumptions about them. What beliefs must I have had? What assumptions must I have had to attract these relationships into my life? 2, I looked at what do I actually want to experience with somebody, like with my ideal partner. And, think about I really thought about what kinds of things do I want to do together with them? How do we communicate with each other? What is the dynamic like? And I really thought about all the things I just described to you, like equality. Everything is divvied up equally in terms of chores and responsibilities. We communicate with each other effectively, respectfully. We're very loving with each other. We want to be around each other. We're each other's best friend. And I thought about what beliefs would I have to have about myself in order for that to be in my reality. I started building up good beliefs about myself. I'm always chosen. I'm just more than enough. I'm amazing. I'm magnetic. I get whoever I want in love. Love lasts for me. Love is easy. Love is kind. Love is gentle, and it's a secure, stable place, because that's not beliefs that I had before. I too used to look up healthy relationship examples or people talking about how in love they were with each other, because that's not something I had experienced really in the past. Step 3, which is the most important part, but I think a lot of people hate this part, is think about what emotion you think that relationship is going to bring you, or what you think that relationship will bring you, and start giving it to yourself. What I mean by that is, what do you think a healthy relationship will bring you? Is it going to bring you security? Are you going to finally feel like you're enough, confident, like you're finally chosen, like you're so loved? What are those feelings? And start creating those feelings internally for yourself. Start choosing you. Start knowing you're more than enough. Start building your confidence, right? And start loving, giving yourself this love, and then naturally other people reflect it back to you. So I think that when you have a good, stable self-concept, good beliefs about yourself, good assumptions about men or women, and good assumptions about relationships, good beliefs about relationships, and then you create your story of what you want, and then you saturate your mind with it, and you start walking around as though this were true. You start giving yourself these feelings internally. That's when the right person comes in. And then when they come in, you can actually enjoy the relationship. You can actually experience it, rather than coming from a place of fear. You're coming from a place of love. That is my biggest thing, is now I actually enjoy my partner. Now I actually love being with him. It's not this constant I wonder what he's doing now, and oh my gosh, is he gonna cheat on me, or am I gonna get hurt here? It's just, we can both relax because we're both confident, stable, secure, grounded within ourselves. So when we come together, it's this beautiful, amazing, secure love. Those are my tips.
If you're in a healthy relationship with a man, can you stitch this video and talk about it?
I was born to talk about this because my husband is he is not only the most honest, caring, loving, supportive, trustworthy, amazing soul that you've ever met, but he is the one thing I tell women to look for, and that is willing. He is willing to get through it all. He's willing to get through the bad, the ugly, the hard conversations. He's willing to change his behavior. He's willing to, accept some criticism and just say, you know what, you're right, I could do that better. But this didn't happen overnight. The reason he's so willing is because I am also willing. So when you have a relationship where you're both willing to do that work, it makes everything so much easier, and it makes things able to build. You can build trust and love and just intimacy and all the things you need to make a really good relationship. He's also obsessed with me in the best way, right? Like, he's always touching me, loving on me, kissing me, holding me, wanting to do things for me to make my life easier. I know this is so rare, and I know a lot of men aren't like this, but I know that they exist because he wasn't all of those things when we first started dating, but he became more and more, and he becomes better and better all the time. And so do I. We both make each other better. We're both always trying to do things for each other, to make each other happy, to make sure that each other knows that we love each other. And it really takes two people to do that. Both people have to be willing. Both people have to really want to make the other person happy over themselves. And when you can do that, it's just the most amazing thing in the world.
If you're in a healthy relationship with a man, can you stitch this video and talk about?
I have been married to my husband for 10 years. We've been together for 12, and we are absolutely still each other's best friend. When people talk about how marriage is hard work, I cannot relate, because literally my marriage is the easiest part of my life. We're very similar people and have a really good way of communicating. Of course, we still have tiffs and arguments about how things are done in the business of raising a family and a home and all that stuff, but they never last more than like an hour, because at the core of it, we don't want to be mad at each other. There's so much love there. We text and talk to each other constantly throughout the day, and we really try to find things that we like to do separately and find a way to do them together. Like, I'm starting to learn how to play golf, and my husband watches Bravo shows with me. And through all of the best friend aspect of it, we still keep that romantic spark alive. We go on dates. He tells me I'm beautiful every time and in every version of me. He once sat with me in a bathroom while I had the stomach bug for a full 12 hours. I leave him little love notes in his clothes, and we make each other laugh. I'm seriously my husband's biggest fan.
Guys, I could go all day listening to these women that just shared their stories. And of course, there are loads of stitches. This video really touched a lot of women to share their love stories, and which is quite interesting. Now, personally, I believe in love. I believe in true love. There is true love. I believe there is healthy relationship. Like I always say, it depends on the person you are dating, or the person you're marrying. I would say that I am one of the luckiest girl, okay, to have met my husband. Now, of course, we met in church, okay, and everything just happened so fast. We got engaged, and my family, of course, love him, and then we got married. Now, this is my 10th year in marriage, and I am super grateful to God, and I'm super grateful, for my husband. My husband have never laid his hand on me, okay, whatsoever. He is a very calm, cool, handsome man, okay. Sometimes when, of course, there's gonna be an argument anyways, and when it comes up, I would just, be talking on, going on and on and on, and my husband would just shush. He wouldn't say anything. And then I would just be the one talking. At some point, I'll be like, am I running mad? Am I going crazy? The person I'm talking to and even, responding. So, and then he was like, see, I can't be responding to you because I could see that you are very angry. So whatever it is, just calm down. Let's just resolve it. And then the moment my husband said that, I was just calm. And that actually helped us. Now, the thing is, two people cannot be, angry at the same time. He's angry, I am angry. He's talking, I'm talking. Guys, it's not gonna go down well, okay? But then he had to take a step back. He was just calm, and I was just talking. Then later he told me, are you ready to talk? And I was like, yeah. And then we talked, and then we ironed things out, and that was it. Okay, my husband is someone that always say, I don't want no troubles. and then he does things for me without me asking. He takes the kids to school, he brings them back even when I'm at home. And of course, he doesn't sit around and wait for me to do the chores. He does the chores, of course, he cooks, and then he's always there, helping me. And you guys know that it's not easy with kids, and my husband is always there 101%. And then after the argument, my husband would always say, okay, I'm sorry. He'll be the first to say. Sometimes I will be the first to say, I'm sorry. And then he'll respond, I'm sorry too. That's the magic word. Again, I would say I am one of the luckiest girl. Okay, I love my husband. I love my man. Anyways, you guys, I'm sure you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know your take in the comments. If you want to share your own story, please share with us. This is just to let people know that true love, healthy relationship exists. Okay, again, it depends on whom you are in the relationship with, but I would love to read from you. Let me know your take in the comments again, and thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to like this video, comment, share, subscribe, and come back again for another interesting and juicy video. Of course, I'm gonna see you all in my next one. Y'all take care. I love you. Bye.